the vital and simultaneous functions of embedding regional integration agenda at the heart of domestic policymaking, while also ensuring that the EAC represents, articulates, and projects the interests of member states as well as the entire collectivity of our community. Our people's journey to a prosperous, competitive, secure, stable, and politically united East Africa entails the implementation of policies and establishment of institutions under the four well-known pillars of our integration, namely a customs union, a common market, monetary union, and a political federation. The instruments and frameworks needed to bring into operation our semi-autonomous institutions delineate our areas of cooperation and attend to the pillars of integration are promulgated under the exclusive mandate of this Assembly, which has demonstrated exemplary dedication to its legislative function, consensus deference to important lessons from the history of our regional integration efforts, and a vigilant commitment to deliver a robust architecture for the successful delivery of an ambitious program of action for our community. By dint of a consistent drive to implement our collective vision for integration, this Assembly has enabled us to overcome the shortcomings which rendered the first East Africa community so vulnerable that it ultimately collapsed, and to make significant progress on each pillar of integration, thereby making EAC a resilient, dynamic, progressive region on the threshold of historic transformation. Our customs union is on the move, with this Assembly creating legislative frameworks to establish a common external tariff, uniform customs rules and procedures, and common rules of origin. And I want to congratulate members here for being patriotic to EAC and making sure these instruments are in place. These frameworks also provide for the elimination of non-tariff barriers and the implementation of a single customs territory, one-stop border posts, as well as the facilitation of the development of regional and national trade information portals. For example, in a couple of weeks, President Museveni and I will be launching the one-stop border post in Swam, a border between Kenya and Uganda, complete with a road connecting both countries that was sourced by funding that was collectively undertaken by the government of Kenya and the government of Uganda. Similarly, the Assembly has provided the framework to conclude the COMESA EAC SADC tripartite free trade area agreement. The signing of the agreement establishes the African Continental Free Trade Area also, and the adoption of the EAC e-commerce strategy. As you are aware, the bringing together of the tripartite agreement will bring 27 countries into one common market with a GDP of approximately $750 billion. That will make it possible for East Africa, parts of North Africa, and the whole of South Africa to trade together and to eliminate trade barriers that consistently stand in the way in our quest to enhance and expand business, trade, enterprise in our region. Consequently, the turnaround time for trucks has reduced significantly along all our transport corridors, and the clearance in time at border crossings has reduced by 84%, making trade more efficient in our region. This is why intra-EAC trade holds the highest position among trading blocs in our continent at 25%. With a combined GDP of US dollars 350 billion, a population of approximately 350 million, and an expansive area of 5 million square kilometers, the EAC member states are an attractive investment destination. East African Community total trade in 2022 stood at US dollars 74 billion. The same year, Africa accounted for 44% and 25% of EAC's total exports and imports, respectively. This assembly, likewise, has enabled the community implement the Common Market Protocol, which guarantees free cross-border movement of persons, labor, services, and capital, as well as the right of establishment and residence through the use of standard identification systems, harmonized travel documents, mutual recognition of qualifications, and harmonized labor and social policy frameworks. The EAC e-passport is now internationally recognized, while several member states now permit citizens to travel using the national identity cards. Visa fees for cross-border movements have mostly been eliminated, and cross-border communities now enjoy free movement. Students can enroll and transfer with greater ease. Regional institutions now implement mutual recognition agreements for various professional qualifications. To actualize the East African Monetary Union by 2031, because that's our aspiration, this assembly must provide the necessary framework to anchor the full implementation of the customs union and common market protocols, especially through the establishment of vital organizations such as the Monetary Institute, Bureau of Statistics, Financial Services, as well as the Surveillance and Enforcement Commissions. I know this is already in your radar, and it is our hope, as members of the summit, that you will discharge your responsibility of making sure these instruments are in place to facilitate the greater integration of our union. Additionally, the Assembly should facilitate the convergence of criteria for macroeconomic governance and provide for the harmonization of both fiscal and monetary policies. The fourth pillar of East African integration, the political federation, depends on effective cooperation in the fields of political affairs, regional peace and security, as well as defense cooperation. The transitional model for our federation is already in place in the form of the East African Political Confederation, under which we have been able to deploy the East African Community Regional Force, for example, to restore peace and security in Eastern DRC, while other achievements under the transitional model include the Chief Justice's Forum to strengthen the rule of law, enhance access to justice, and facilitate the evolution of a distinct East African jurisprudence. Similarly, the other platforms have been established to enable progressive engagement between national institutions through the exchange of information, skills, and capacity, and developing common regional standards in such diverse fields as good governance, election management, and human rights institutions, and institutions that govern anti-corruption. We now have in place protocols on defense, as well as peace and security, together with the EAC Mutual Defense Pact, the EAC Early Warning Mechanism, Protocol on Combating Illegal Drug Trafficking, and EAC Interreligious Council, and a framework for conducting public participation on the establishment of the political federation, which has already been concluded in Kenya, in Uganda, and in Burundi. And we already made a decision last year in Arusha that that process must be concluded in the other remaining states by June this year, so that we can have a way forward. And I want to tell you, when this exercise was conducted in Kenya, it received overwhelming endorsement by the people of Kenya. It received similar endorsement in Burundi and in Uganda.